I'll be living here, but please tell your son to stay away from me. No talking to me, and certainly no developing any feelings for me." The impoverished student Ye Hongdie, whom Mom had brought home to sponsor, uttered these words the moment she stepped through the door, leaving my parents and me utterly stunned. In that instant, I realized that Ye Hongdie, like me, had been reborn. In my previous life, when Mom brought home the impoverished student Ye Hongdie she had chosen sponsor, I was immediately captivated by this beauty, as pure as a lotus emerging from mud, a true national treasure. As a second-generation wealthy heir, I strove relentlessly, using every resource and means at my disposal, ultimately helping her become a top-tier starlet in the entertainment industry. Yet, the first thing she did after winning Best Actress was to announce her relationship and wedding date. Only, the man she was marrying wasn't me, but her old flame, Kuan. Soon after, the media exposed my relationship with her over the years. She believed I had leaked it out of spite after my failed pursuit. To silence the news quickly, she actually chose to have me killed. Engulfed in flames, feeling the excruciating pain and suffocation from body to soul, I could never comprehend how a human heart could be so malicious. Waking up again, I found myself back in my senior year of high school. Following the script of my past life, Mom chose to sponsor an impoverished student to stay with us temporarily. "Son, let me introduce you. This is Ye Hongdie, a classmate who will be staying with us for a while. From today on, she's part of this family, and you should look after her like a little sister." Mom's voice was as gentle as ever. In the living room stood a girl in simple, or rather, patched clothes. But even so, her tall, slender figure, jade-like skin, and classic, nation-toppling beauty made her countless times more stunning than any of today's celebrities. Stepping into our home for the first time, she showed no hint of nervousness. Instead, she appeared remarkably at ease. The moment she saw me, her delicate brows furrowed slightly. "Auntie, I'll be living here, but please tell your son to keep his distance from me. No talking to me, and certainly no developing any feelings for me." Our family of three was utterly floored by this statement. Mom was so stunned she didn't react at first. Then, she laughed awkwardly. "Hongdie, is there some misunderstanding with our Wang Lin?" Ye Hongdie shook her head. "No, I'm just expressing a concern as a girl. My natural attributes are quite attractive to boys, aren't they?" Mom nodded. Seeing this, Ye Hongdie walked over and linked her arm with Mom's. "So, I hope Annie can understand my predicament. When she first came to our house in her previous life, she was timid and subservient. Seeing her composure now, it seems she, like me, had also been reborn. Since we've both lived this life once before, I'll let her experience the malevolence of the human heart too." Subsequent events proved that Ye Hongdie's initial politeness was all an act. During her time at our house, she behaved like a homeless kitten, pitiful and endearing, and I was captivated by her eyes, which shone like stars in the night sky. Ultimately, I squandered my family fortune, leading to a tragic end for my entire family. In the final moments of my previous life, she conspired with Kuan to lure me to the outskirts, where they tied me up completely and doused me with gasoline. Then, Kuan lit a cigarette, took a mocking drag, and with a flick of his finger, a raging fire instantly engulfed me. Recalling that moment, the searing heat, suffocation, and excruciating pain seemed to assail me once more. I walked over to the sofa and sat down, my tone calm and cold. "Mom, it seems this classmate isn't quite satisfied with our sponsorship. Perhaps we should find someone else, so as not to waste the spot. In our past life, our Wang Corporation had sponsored a group of students, and Ye Hongdie was one of them. She had lost her mother at a young age, and her father was a degenerate addicted to alcohol and gambling. He even gambled away his only daughter, Ye Hongdie. Just as Ye Hongdie was about to be taken away, Mom, pitying her, drove off the gamblers, brought her home to care for her, and provided for her education. It's just that good deeds don't always yield good returns. Some hearts are simply black, born to be ungrateful. I didn't mean that. Don't misunderstand me. Reborn, she wasn't foolish. If our family hadn't rescued her in the previous life, and if I, after inheriting the family business, hadn't poured fortunes into paving her way and fighting for resources for her, how could she have skyrocketed to fame in her second year in the industry? She successfully became an A-list superstar, won the Best Actress award, and swept up nearly every award available in showbiz. A plethora of luxury brands sought her endorsements, each paying an annual fee starting in the 8 figures. Yet, no matter how glamorous she was then, she was now just a homeless high school student, worse off than destitute. Without our family sponsorship, she wouldn't even be able to graduate high school. At best, she'd end up working in a factory, tightening screws, or as a waitress. To be born so beautiful and with such an impressive figure, yet without a family background, wasn't a blessing from heaven, but a curse. Recreating her past glory? Not a chance. Ye Hongdie, who had seen much of the world, wasn't stupid. She should understand her current predicament and the need to bide her time. However, since we've both been reborn, not only will I not help her again, but I will also... The next day was the first day of senior year. After a hearty breakfast, Uncle Lee, the butler, was already waiting by the car at the entrance. As I leisurely walked over, just about to get in, a slender figure came jogging up. She bypassed me, pulled open the car door, sat in the front passenger seat, and slammed the door shut with a bang. The entire sequence of actions was as smooth as flowing water, executed in one go. This maneuver left me completely dumbfounded, and Uncle Fu also seemed a bit slow to react, turning to look at me with a questioning expression. A corner of my mouth curled up in a contemptuous smile. In my past life, the path I paved for her was far too smooth. This woman's brain didn't seem very sharp. I had just placed one foot into the back seat when Ye Hongdie's cold gaze swept over. Wang Lin, I already told you yesterday. No talking to me, and don't even think about getting close to me. I almost burst out laughing. Ye Hongdie, still trying to make a big show of yourself? Who the hell do you think you're impressing with that pathetic act? I looked at her coldly and said slowly, with a smirk, "This is my car. I'm not used to carpooling. Get out. Now." Ye Hongdie's expression changed. It seemed she hadn't expected this reaction from me at all. In our past life, after she came to my house, I had coddled her in every way and endured everything. Once she discovered I liked her, she became even more brazen and fearless. For her 18th birthday during senior year, I even used 6 months' worth of my saved allowance to buy her a Porsche Panamera, specially painted a romantic cherry red. This act stunned even my parents. Later, Ye Hongdie mentioned her yearning for foreign scenery. Whenever I had free time, I'd fly her around the world to explore scenic spots, historical sites, and culinary cultures. Seeing my unwavering devotion, my parents didn't know whether to be happy or sad. Everyone around called me a simp, but I was happy to be one back then. A close bro once joked that if I kept being a simp, he'd break my legs. I'd laugh and reply, "Good thing you'd only break my legs. I could still use my hands to text her and buy her things." Thinking back now, damn, I wasn't just a simp. I was a complete idiot. Wang Lin, I was just hitching a ride. Do you have to be like this? Ye Hongdie's words pulled me back to reality. Her face was dark, clearly showing her displeasure. Seeing her like this, I, on the contrary, felt pleased. Ye Hongdie bit her lip, got out of the car resentfully, and then slammed the door hard. I attended a private aristocratic high school, and my mom arranged for her to enroll too. She was in class 2, I was in class 4. On the first day of school, Kuan, the basketball team captain and so-called school tyrant, and the transfer student in class 2, dropped a bombshell. Kuan, I like you. Can I be your girlfriend? Ye Hongdie's public confession, even in a private school, was like a nuclear bomb, instantly drawing everyone's attention. The reborn Ye Hongdie went to find her white moonlight Kuan at the first opportunity. That I hadn't expected. In my previous life, although she liked Kuan, his family circumstances were only slightly better than dirt poor. Between career and love, Ye Hongdie ultimately chose career, using me as a stepping stone. Back then, I thought my persistence had moved her. Every time I helped her advance, she would look at me affectionately and promise that the day she achieved fame and success would be the day we'd marry. In the end, it was indeed as she said. When her career reached its peak, she announced her relationship. Only, the person wasn't me, but Kuan, the one who skipped classes with her, went for night runs by the lake, cooked porridge for her, and had relations with her in a dilapidated house. After the announcement, Ye Hongdie wept uncontrollably before me, saying she initially thought what we had was love, but after time, she realized it wasn't love, just friendship. She said she would repay my years of devotion, but would absolutely never marry me. From high school graduation, I accompanied her for a full 10 years. I was originally a rich second-generation kid who never had to worry about food or clothing. For her acting career, I rushed around everywhere, pulled strings, invested in scripts, found production teams and directors, and shielded her from the unspoken rules. For her, I offended most of the entertainment industry, constantly socializing and networking. Even when I was hospitalized with a stomach hemorrhage, I dragged my ailing body out to continue managing her connections. Finally, she achieved fame and success, and then told me she only considered me a good friend. Even so, I gritted my teeth and let them be together. Having finally come to my senses, I was preparing to reorganize the family business when I received a call from an unknown number. It was Ye Hongdie, asking me to meet her somewhere, saying there was something important to discuss. It turned out the paparazzi had photographed her entering and leaving my house, and, following the clues, discover my long-term companionship and help. They gave this material to her competitors, who, along with people she had previously offended, began to publicize it widely, slandering her in every way. Ye Hongdie called me over to discuss countermeasures. After arriving at a secluded spot deep in the mountains, she brewed me a cup of tea and asked me to sit down and discuss things slowly. After drinking the tea, my vision went black. When I woke up, I found myself tied up, surrounded by gasoline cans. Before me stood only Ye Hongdie and Kuan. Kuan, smiling, doused me with gasoline and explained that to ensure Ye Hongdie's acting career remained unaffected, I had to disappear from the world. Before lighting the fire, Ye Hongdie feigned wiping away tears. Wang Lin, I'm sorry, but I have no choice. You know too much. If it gets out, my career is over. I struggled with all my might, but it was all in vain. I could only look at her furiously. Ye Hongdie, are you even human? Who do you think you have to thank for your success today? Kuan stepped forward and interrupted me. Don't be so conceited, Wang Lin. Our Hongdie is outstanding on her own. She would have shone brightly even without you. He then turned, kissed Ye Hongdie on the cheek, and said softly, Darling, delays breed complications. Let's do it quickly to avoid further trouble. After Ye Hongdie nodded in agreement, Kuan coolly lit a cigarette, took a deep drag, and flicked it towards me. After I was gone, my mother, over 60, reported the case to the police, but no clues were found, and the case went cold. Not long after, my mother died of depression, having lost his wife and son in his old age. And with the Wang family enterprise suppressed by unknown rivals, my father soon took his own life as well. All because of Ye Hongdie, I not only lost my own life, but also my parents' lives and the vast Wang group. Perhaps even heaven couldn't bear to watch, so it let me live again. As the saying goes, for a gentleman, 10 years is not too late for revenge. To crush them now would be too merciful. To bring about their ruin, first make them mad. At night, as I was in my room preparing for bed, I suddenly heard the sound of engines revving loudly outside. Looking up, I saw a group of ghost fire youths on motorcycles stopped at the community gate. A familiar figure in a school uniform got off the back of a motorcycle, took off her helmet, and smoothed her hair. It was Ye Hongdie. She kept looking back every few steps as she said goodbye to Kuan, then ran back a few paces and quickly kissed him on the cheek. The others started whistling like hooligans. A smug smile appeared on Kuan's face. No way, Ye Hongdie, you really live here? I heard the cheapest place here is like 150 or 60,000 per square meter, one of the ghost fire youths exclaimed, looking in my direction. I knew he was looking at the small Western-style houses in the complex, but I still turned sideways to hide by the window. So envious. What does a 200,000 per square meter house look like? Show us around, beautiful Yi. Faced with the youth's flattery, Ye Hongdie couldn't hide her smugness, then said with some feigned difficulty, My family is strict. They don't allow strangers in. Sorry, Hongdie, that's not right. Is brother Kuan a stranger to us? He's practically your family's prized son-in-law. It just so happens to be brother Kuan's birthday this weekend. So let's have a birthday party at your mansion. Yeah, let's witness your family's mansion. Faced with the suggestions from Kuan's cronies, Ye Hongdie fell silent for a few seconds before replying, All right, I'll ask my family and see what they think. The group of delinquents immediately cheered. The great beauty, Yi, is awesome. Don't disappoint us. In the quiet night, their conversation reached my ears, every single word. I fucking wanted to slap myself. I'd never realized before that Ye Hongdie was such a hypocritical, gold-digging woman. Besides my past foolishness, another reason was Ye Hongdie's mastery of green tea tactics. She acted so genuinely in front of me. If I went down now and exposed her, I wonder what kind of scene it would be. I had just finished imagining that scene when, as Ye Hongdie entered the residential complex, the delinquents quickly left. For several days in a row, Ye Hongdie came home very late. Rumors about her and Kuan were rampant at school. Ye Hongdie was very high profile, openly holding hands and displaying affection with Kuan both on and off campus. There were also rumors that Ye Hongdie was a rich second generation, and some classmates posted photos of her entering and exiting a top-tier luxury residential complex, as well as images of her stepping out of Rolls-Royce. The tale of a wealthy young heiress falling for the school tyrant instantly ignited the dull campus life. The next day, while Mom and I were eating breakfast, Ye Hongdie came down from the second floor. "Morning, Hongdie. Come have breakfast," Mom greeted her. Hongdie gave a simple reply, then seemed to hesitate. Finally, she spoke. "Auntie, there's something I want to discuss with you. A classmate of mine is having a birthday this weekend. Can we have a party at home?" I looked at her, a little surprised. This woman actually dared to suggest it. Mom was a bit surprised, then asked doubtfully, "You mean have a party at home? Your uncle and I don't like crowds. I'm afraid that won't work." Hearing Mom's reply, Ye Hongdie looked very disappointed, but was unwilling to give up. "Not even for a few hours? I've already promised them, Auntie." Mom shook her head helplessly. "It's really not convenient at home. Your Uncle Wang comes home very tired. Let's not disturb him. The weekend isn't here yet. You can explain to your classmates ahead of time." Ye Hongdie said nothing more, picked up the milk on the table, drank it in one gulp, then turned and walked out. "Hongdie, not having breakfast? Not hungry?" "Hongdie, wait a moment," Mom called out to Ye Hongdie. When she turned around and looked over quizzically, Mom said earnestly, "Hongdie, you're now in the crucial sprint period for your senior year studies. You need to prioritize your studies, understand?" Ye Hongdie frowned, looking at both of us. "Auntie, what are you trying to say?" Mom sighed softly. "I heard you've been dating recently. Auntie just wants to remind you that you should focus on your studies now." "Auntie, you don't need to say any more," Ye Hongdie interrupted Mom's lecture. "I'm very grateful that you and Uncle have sponsored me, but that doesn't mean you can interfere in my life. Perhaps I need guidance, but I don't need to be dictated to." Mom was stunned by Ye Hongdie's words, momentarily speechless. I smiled and advised, "Mom, respect others' destinies, let go of the urge to help. You taught me that. Don't meddle in other people's business." As I spoke, Ye Hongdie's gaze shifted to me, her eyes scornful. "Wang Lin, don't you try to be slick with me here. So what if you're rich? I've experienced a rich life too. It's nothing special. This time I won't let go of Kuan, so you can just give up on that idea." I was so angry I almost fucking laughed. "Oh, if that's the case, why don't you move out? Your sponsorship money will remain the same. Move out today. I'll have the butler help." Ye Hongdie was instantly speechless, biting her lip, then brazenly continued, "You have no right to kick me out. It was Annie who invited me to live here. I didn't expect this creature to be so thick-skinned. But then again, a luxury complex, a detached villa, plus a butler and a Filipino maid, compared to the school dormitory, any fool would know what to choose. Let's each say a little less. Leave early, so you're not late for school." Seeing the awkward atmosphere, Mom stepped in to smooth things over. Mom was still too soft-hearted. It seemed necessary to add some fuel to the fire. In my previous life, on Kuan's 18th birthday, Ye Hongdie had given herself to him as a gift, though at that time it was in Kuan's old shack in the shantytown. When Ye Hongdie became famous and successful, Kuan specifically told me this. He even said he would never forget that day, wearing a wistful expression as he finished. "Very well, I will make this day unforgettable for you both." That evening, I booked a trip to an internet-famous resort and then suggested the whole family go to relax. At first, Dad refused, but he couldn't withstand Mom's persuasion. "Our child is being filial. You're usually busy with work. Relaxing for a day or two will be fine." Finally, Dad agreed to go out and relax for 2 days. The next day, on the way to school, Ye Hongdie once again dashed to the front passenger seat. I pretended to say, casually, "Uncle Fu, our family is going on a trip this weekend. Uncle Fu, please see if anyone else from the staff wants to go. We could just book a few more plane tickets then." "All right, I'll go take a head count later," Uncle Fu replied, turning back to me. As he did, I noticed a strange glint flash in Ye Hongdie's eyes. Early Saturday morning, I used the excuse of having an upset stomach and told Mom and Dad I couldn't go to the resort, letting them go ahead. Then I called a group of classmates to eat out. "Wang Lin, why are we eating out? I remember your family chef Sichuan cuisine is to die for," my good buddy Han Feng asked doubtfully. "There's no atmosphere at home. How about this? After we eat, we go to my place for some chicken dinner. 5 versus 5. My place has a professional-grade, enthusiast-level esports room." Hearing this, the classmates' opinions instantly unified. Using the excuse of going to the restroom, I secretly turned on the home network camera. At this moment, Ye Hongdie had already arrived at my house with that gang of delinquents. They were fooling around, frolicking, and wandering everywhere. One even took out Dad's treasured Romani Connie from the wine cellar, excitedly shouting, "Brothers, look what I found!" The group cheered, brought over a corkscrew, and prepared to open the bottle. Just then Uncle Fu called. "Young master, Miss Hongdie's friends are about to open the master's treasured wine." Should I stop them? Before heading out, I specifically told Uncle Fu to contact me directly if anything came up and not to disturb Mom and Dad on their vacation. Hearing this, I smiled and said, "It's fine. Parties are meant to be lively and fun. A little drinking won't hurt. Ye Hongdie, you better not hold back on the drinks. Don't disappoint me." After dinner, I led a large group of classmates in taxis toward my house. Through the security camera, I saw Ye Hongdie and Kuan had just gone upstairs to the second floor. I figured the two of them wouldn't just be up there discussing their ideals. I had Uncle Fu lead the delinquent crew to the backyard to prevent anyone from tipping them off. "Brothers, my gaming room is just upstairs. Let's go." I led the group of classmates straight to the second floor, pushed open the door, and we all poured in. We only saw the two of them, paired up, discussing Renaissance art. My classmates were stunned. Was this something they were supposed to see? Hearing the door open, the two on the bed turned around. When they saw us, Ye Hongdie let out a shriek, followed by a flurry of panic. Han Feng frowned at me. "Why is that transfer student, Ye Hongdie, living at your place? And Kuan, the school bully, what the hell is he doing pulling this stunt in your house?" I waved my hands, feigning innocence. "I don't know either. Haha. Can I take a few pictures?" A quick-witted classmate had already pulled out his phone, ready to display professional-level photography skills. Kuan, having pulled on his clothes, roared, "Are you fking looking for trouble? Get the hell out." Han Feng flared up. "Who the FCK do you think you are? Telling us to get out? You're trespassing on private property." Kuan bellowed, his voice full. I smiled at him. "So you do know the words trespassing on private property. That makes things easier." Turning to the girl standing behind Kuan with her head down, I said, "Ye Hongdie, you got some nerve bringing people over to play. If you like him so much, why didn't you pay for a hotel room? Now, take your boyfriend and get out of my house immediately." Hearing this, Kuan's arrogant demeanor instantly deflated. He turned to Ye Hongdie. "Ye Hongdie, what's going on? Isn't this your house?" Ye Hongdie glared at me, her face dark. "Wang Lin, nice scheme. Isn't it just because you want to be with me? Dream on." It was so absurd I almost laughed out loud. "Ye Hongdie, is your brain underdeveloped, or is your cerebellum just not fully formed? If you're sick, go see a doctor. Stop yapping like a dog here." Kuan smoothed his hair, his face grim, and started to walk out. Ye Hongdie quickly grabbed him. Kuan, this is a trap set by Wang Lin. His goal is to break us up. I don't care about your damn mess. Get lost." Kuan pushed her away and hurried downstairs. Ye Hongdie stumbled and fell to the ground. Facing the crowd of onlookers, instead of feeling ashamed, she seemed to take pride in it. "Wang Lin, save your petty tricks. Don't think this can break us up. I'd rather be with a dog than with you." Even Han Feng couldn't stand her shamelessness. "Classmate, what man would like a woman who fools around in someone else's house? Stop being so full of yourself, acting like you're God's gift. Besides, aren't you a needy student sponsored by the Wang Corporation? What are you doing here?" The surrounding classmates looked incredulous. So, Ye Hongdie was actually a needy student sponsored by Wang Lin's family? Then why were there rumors outside that she was a rich young heiress? That's not right. I saw her getting out a Rolls-Royce last time. Wang Lin's car is a Cullinan. Han Feng chimed in, perhaps a bit out of turn, but seizing the moment. The classmates instantly understood. Han Feng looked at me. "Wait, then why is she living at your house?" I shook my head helplessly. She lost her mother at a young age, and her father is an alcoholic and a gambler who ran off after racking up debts. She was homeless, so when my mom kindly took her in, this made her mistakenly think I had feelings for her, and she's always saying bizarre things. Ye Hongdie trembled with anger, pointing at my nose. "Wang Lin, you're lying. You've always been the one pestering me relentlessly." Does Ye Hongdie not understand the difference between her past life and this one? Read too many novels. Think you're the female lead? Han Feng quipped from the side. This casual roast, however, hit the hardest. Ye Hongdie completely lost it. "Get out. All of you get out." Well, don't you even see whose house this is? And you're telling Wang Lin, the owner, to get out? Your face is so thick, they wouldn't need to repair the Great Wall. They could just use it to patch things up. Han Feng's talent for insults truly left me in awe. Ye Hongdie bringing people home to party and fooling around upstairs thoroughly infuriated Mom and Dad. After they returned from their trip, they immediately made Ye Hongdie move into the school dormitory. On the day she left, Ye Hongdie walked past me with her head held high and chest out. "You're making me move out now, but in 3 months, even if you kneel and beg me, I won't come back." I roughly knew why she was so confident. Recently, Master Xing had been preparing to shoot a new film, and he was famous for using newcomers. What Ye Hongdie didn't know was that the reason she was able to stand out from thousands and land the role of the second female lead was thanks to the good relationship between the wife of Master Xing's company boss and my mom. I had pulled some strings to barely get her into the final audition. Fortunately, her own acting skills were decent enough for her to secure the role and quickly rise to fame. Thinking of this crucial juncture, I immediately registered a film and entertainment studio and went to a remote mountainous area in the Sichuan region to find a girl named Bai Ningbing. I approached the wife of Master Xing's company boss again and got Bai Ningbing into the final audition. Compared to Ye Hongdie, Bai Ningbing was superior in every aspect, be it looks, figure, acting skills, or talent. In our previous life, Bai Ningbing mostly ended up second fiddle mainly because many things could be manipulated behind the scenes. When Master Xing heard there was someone who got in through connections, he initially had a cold expression, but his face lit up with pleasant surprise when he saw Bai Ningbing. Moreover, Bai Ningbing was a year younger than me, her budding beauty perfectly matching Master Xing's ideal image for the daughter role. Mom was a bit worried about my sudden desire to start business. After all, it's not as concerning when a rich kid indulges in pleasure and loses ambition as it is when they become overly ambitious. She wasn't afraid of me whining and dining. She was afraid of me wanting to prove myself. However, she couldn't withstand my persistent pestering and eventually gave me some startup capital. I rescued Bai Ningbing from her tragic and oppressive family background and had her transfer to continue her studies near me. The day I drove Bai Ningbing to the film set, I saw people arguing at the entrance from afar. As I got closer, I realized it was Ye Hongdie. She was arguing heatedly with the staff, her face flushed, claiming there was insider dealing in the casting process and demanding to know why she hadn't received an audition notice. The moment Ye Hongdie saw Bai Ningbing and me appear, she froze, then rushed over to demand, "Wang Lin, what are you two doing here?" I couldn't even be bothered with her, simply bypassing her and heading straight inside. Ye Hongdie noticed Bai Ningbing trailing behind me, pulling a suitcase. As if a thought struck her, she turned to berate Bai Ningbing. "It must be you, you vixen. You used some despicable means to snatch my role." Bai Ningbing eyed her with amusement. "We've all been reborn, so drop the innocent act. If Wang Lin hadn't helped you in our past life with your talents, you would have struggled to even make the top 8. Ye Hongdie stared, her gaze flitting in shock between Bai Ningbing and me. It wasn't until Bai Ningbing revealed the truth that she reluctantly accepted I had been the one helping her in our past life. Losing her composure, she lunged to slap Bai Ningbing, but I intercepted her hand just in time. "Wang Lin, you still have chance. Tell her to scram, and I'll be with you," Ye Hongdie declared, hands on her hips, an eyebrow arched. "This is your final opportunity, Wang Lin." "Idiot. Just because you've got a screw loose, you think you can spout whatever nonsense you want? Let's go," I said, taking Bai Ningbing's arm and walking straight into the production set, unimpeded. "Sometimes, I really do envy her," Bai Ningbing murmured, walking beside me. I knew, of course, what she was referring to. Turning to her, I said, "Since you've also been reborn, if you want to return to your original talent agency, I won't stand in your way." Bai Ningbing shook her head. "There's no need. I trust that collaborating with you will be a pleasure." After her outburst on set, Ye Hongdie grew increasingly restless and anxious. At school, she'd walk past my classroom several times, even though hers was on the floor above mine, meaning she had no reason to be on my floor at all. If Ye Hongdie had focused on her studies, with her looks, finding a partner with good prospects wouldn't have been difficult. But it's easy to adapt to luxury, but hard to return to a simpler life. In her past life, she had been a national goddess, a top-tier celebrity. A single endorsement deal earned her what an ordinary person might make in several lifetimes. Everywhere she went, she was the center of attention. With her personality, there was no way she could settle for an ordinary, unassuming life. But this worked out perfectly. If she were a decent, law-abiding citizen, it would be much harder for me to make a move. After school, Ye Hongdie cornered me at the doorway. "Wang Lin, I need to talk to you." I nodded, indicating for her to go on. Ye Hongdie took a deep breath, as if making a tremendous sacrifice. "I've thought it over carefully," she said. "I still can't be with you." I raised an eyebrow. What wire had crossed in her brain this time? Seeing my impatient expression, Ye Hongdie quickly explained, "I can accept you as my adoptive older brother." Hearing this, I momentarily suspected there was something wrong with my ears. "Consider this your compensation. I won't break up with Kuan. And another thing, you need to get me roles in a few major film productions. Why don't you find a manhole, tilt your head, and pour all that water out of your brain? Ye Hongdie, if you genuinely want to compensate me, then take Kuan and disappear. In this lifetime, What on earth gave you the idea I liked you? You mean, you don't like me? Get lost, I said, thrusting my hands into my pockets and walking away. I truly couldn't stand her. A shrill voice came from behind. Wang Lin, don't push your luck. I have plenty of ways to deal with you. I paused for a mere second before continuing on my way. I had originally planned to deal with her after starting college, but I hadn't expected her to willingly walk right into the line of fire. I had Uncle Fu track down Ye Hongdie's father, Yichong. He was a middle-aged man with a stubbled face, a protruding beer belly, and clad in a faded undershirt. He now stood in my courtyard, a cigarette dangling from his lips as he looked at me. You must be the young master of the Wang family, right? I nodded. Yichong flicked the ash from his cigarette. Heard you folks have been sponsoring our Hongdie, paying for her schooling, giving her a place to live. I ain't got much else going on. Just came to check up on her. I feigned surprise. Oh, it's Uncle Yi. Ye Hongdie was indeed staying with us for a while, but she moved out some time ago. Yichong frowned. Moved where? I shook my head. You'll probably have to ask her that yourself. At this, Yichong immediately grew displeased. You said you'd sponsor her, and she was living here with your family's approval. So why'd you kick her out? It ain't safe for a young girl out there on her own. I quickly waved my hands, explaining. You can ask her for the details. We merely had her move back into the school dormitory, so her safety is an issue. It's just that. Just what? I feigned reluctance. Well, from what I understand, she didn't actually move into the school dorms. She's living off campus with her boyfriend. Boyfriend? What boyfriend? Yichong's voice suddenly boomed. Take me to them. I shook my head and sighed, eventually instructing the butler to drive us to the Shantytown district, to Ye Hongdie and Su Kuan's secret hideout. It was an unfinished, small Western-style building. As we passed the ground floor, I picked up a steel pipe. Yichong looked at me curiously. What do you need a steel pipe for? These abandoned buildings are treacherous. It's for a walking stick. Upon reaching the top floor, we found basic living essentials and a tent. In the otherwise quiet surroundings, the sounds emanating from the tent were unmistakably clear. Veins pulsed at Yichong's temples. I conveniently dropped the steel pipe. Hearing it clatter, Yichong snatched up the pipe, strode forward, and ripped open the tent flap, revealing Ye Hongdie and Su Kuan. Dad, what are you doing here? Ye Hongdie stammered, her face ashen as she stared at the intruder. Hearing the commotion and seeing the steel pipe in a man's hand, Su Kuan simply charged out. Yichong laid into him with the pipe as if employing the dog-beating staff technique. You little bastard, you dare touch my daughter? I'll beat you to death. To be honest, Su Kuan was just a high school senior, barely an adult, and no match for the street-hardened Yichong. After just a few blows, he was a bloody mess. His blood up, Su Kuan let out a furious roar and lunged at Yichong, apparently intending to shove him off the edge in a desperate, if I go down, you're coming with me attack. Yichong, despite his potbelly, surprisingly managed to dodge. With no railings around, Su Kuan sailed right off the 7th floor. Ye Hongdie stood with her mouth agape, her expression one of sheer terror, as a sickening thud echoed from below. Yichong froze for several seconds, then dropped the pipe and bolted. When the ambulance arrived, Su Kuan was found to be still alive. However, a hospital examination revealed a cervical spinal cord injury, leaving him a high-level quadriplegic. I, of course, expressed my deepest sympathies regarding this tragic event and had already left the scene. I later paid a discreet visit to Su Kuan in the hospital. Comparatively, it seemed my fate in my past life had been somewhat kinder. At least my end had been swift. To speak from the heart, I genuinely hoped Su Kuan would live a long, long time, to a ripe old age, ideally. I'd even be willing to foot his medical bills myself. Suddenly, the sound of slaps echoed from the corridor. Following the noise, one would see Hongdie, her hair disheveled, slumped on the floor, a distinct red palm print on her face. Andy, it's not my fault, it was my dad. Go find my dad. Smack! Another slap landed. If you little vixen, hadn't seduced my son, would your father have come to our door? If he hadn't come and beaten my son, my poor boy wouldn't have jumped off the building. It's all your fault. You have to marry my son and take care of him for the rest of his life. Ye Hongdie's face was deathly pale. She hugged her arms, trembling. And no, I can't. I still have to study. To make movies, I can't. Pa, someone like you? You couldn't even get into a junior college. Don't even think about running away in this lifetime. In life, you belong to my Kuan. In death, you'll be his ghost. Ye Hongdie, steadying herself against the wall, managed to stand. As if struck by a thought, she gritted her teeth and said, Marriage should be by choice. You can't force me. Smack. Her other cheek received a solid slap. Su Kuan's mother leaned closer to Ye Hongdie, her voice vicious. Fine, don't marry him. Pay up. I've calculated it. 3 million will do. I recalled how in the previous life, after Yihong died and Su Kuan went public with their relationship, Su Kuan's mother, as her mother-in-law, had participated in a TV program. She had doted on Ye Hongdie, cherishing her like her own precious child. Who would have thought that the once respectful mother-in-law and daughter-in-law would end up like this? 3 million? What a joke. Yi Chong and Ye Hongdie couldn't even scrape together 30,000. And with Yi Chong's personality, he'd have long since vanished, untraceable even with an arrest warrant out for him. In the end, it was I, the Good Samaritan, who called the police. Only under the protection of the officers did Ye Hongdie manage to leave the hospital safely. But the very next day, Su Kuan's parents found their way to the school and caused a huge scene. The school board, left with no choice, ultimately decided to expel Ye Hongdie. Ye Hongdie ran to my classroom door. Wang Lin, I'll be your girlfriend. Help me. Pay the 3 million compensation for me. I'll pay you back soon. Putting down the pen I was using for my exam paper, I shook my head, speechless. Why should I help you? And where are you going to earn 3 million to pay me back? The lottery? Or by selling yourself? Ye Hongdie, snot and tears streaming down her face, wailed, You're just playing hard to get, aren't you? You clearly love me so much. Walking over to her, I whispered, In our past life, you and Su Kuan burned me to death. And you expect me to help you now. Hearing this, Ye Hongdie's face turned ashen with terror. She stumbled back until she hit the wall. Are you human or a ghost? I raised an eyebrow. What do you think? Ye Hongdie's eyes widened further. You've been reborn too. Good heavens, she's only just realized? Even a dinosaur wouldn't be this slow on the uptake. Ye Hongdie suddenly crawled over and clung to my trouser leg. I was wrong. It was all Su Kuan's idea. Besides, haven't you been reborn too? Let's just pretend none of that happened. Can we start over, please? I pried her hands off and started to walk away. Wang Lin, so what if I burned you to death in our last life? You're alive and well now, aren't you? Can't we just turn the page on this? After that, Ye Hongdie came to my house looking for me several times, but Uncle Fu always sent her away. In the following year, a production by Ningbing starred and became a phenomenal success, and she herself became a household name, a top-tier star. To achieve such status with a single work was due to her own talent, her exceptional looks, and, of course, my efforts behind the scenes. At the same time, Bai Ningbing was exceptionally admitted to the National Academy of Dramatic Arts for further studies. Juggling school and acting, she amassed 20 million fans in less than 2 years. And all of this had once belonged to Ye Hongdie. One boring afternoon, I went to the nursing home to visit Su Kuan. After more than a year, I almost didn't recognize him. His face was covered in stubble, his muscles had atrophied, and he was filthy and reeked. I lasted less than half a minute in his room before I bolted. The director of the nursing home explained, somewhat awkwardly, Mr. Well, my apologies. We've been rather busy these past 2 days and forgot to bathe Mr. Su Kuan. I'll arrange for someone to attend to it immediately. I waved my hand. It's fine. I know things are difficult for you too. A joke, really. If I hadn't known this place only takes money without providing proper care, guaranteeing he stays alive, but not that he lives well, why else would I have sent Su Kuan here? The director beamed, unable to close his mouth from smiling so widely. It's truly Mr. Wang who values relationships. Even his own parents don't visit him anymore, yet Mr. Wang paid out his own pocket to send him here. You're a living bodhisattva, so kind-hearted. Leaving the nursing home, I met Bai Ningbing at a tea house to discuss her next film. We had barely sat down when a commotion erupted from the adjacent booth. The voices sounded somewhat familiar. I listened closely. It turned out to be Ye Hongdie, caught being the other woman by the man's wife. However, the wife didn't seem overly angry. Her tone was surprisingly polite. Ms. Ye Hongdie, do you know why my husband and I are separated? Why? Because he has AIDS. Ye Hongdie was stunned by these words, becoming extremely agitated. The wife knew her husband was in the mid to late stages and wouldn't live much longer. She was planning to inherit his estate after he was gone. As the other woman, Ye Hongdie would get nothing. Finally, the wife even advised Ye Hongdie to get herself checked at a hospital quickly. Ye Hongdie, thoroughly terrified, staggered out of the booth. I had no desire to run into her, so Bai Ningbing and I remained silent. Unexpectedly, as Ye Hongdie steadied herself against the wall, she happened to see us. Seeing me and Bai Ningbing, she became even more agitated. Are you stalking me? Bai Ningbing, seeing her state, couldn't bear it. You should go see a doctor first. Ye Hongdie threw her handbag at us, but we dodged it. Rage fueled her courage. It's all your fault, Bai Ningbing. You stole my rolls. You stole my life. Her shouts attracted the attention of other customers. Upon recognizing Bai Ningbing, they instantly turned into devoted fans, crowding around to ask for autographs and photos. Ye Hongdie was quickly pushed out by the crowd. Her emotions were at a breaking point, her face contorted. Finally, she roared amidst the throng. What's so great about her? Isn't she just an actress? As if no one else has ever been famous. Get lost. Ouch, who stepped on my foot? Bai Ningbing, you country bumpkin, you'll die a horrible death. Who is that? A lunatic, right? Ye Hongdie grew even more frantic, her voice cracking. I am a Golden Bull Best Actress. You're all trash. Then, someone from behind gave her a shove, and Ye Hongdie, losing her balance, tumbled to the ground. Then, someone kicked her, followed by another, and another, each person landing a kick. By the time she scrambled to her feet like a rabid dog, everyone had backed away, leaving her standing alone in an empty circle. The next I heard of Ye Hongdie from Uncle Fu was that she had returned to the countryside, alone and utterly destitute. Soon after, she fell gravely ill. With no one to care for her, she was sent to a sanatorium, where she became roommates with Su Kuan. Next, let us welcome the newly crowned Best Actress, Ms. Bai Ningbing, to the stage. Snapping back to reality, I realized I was attending the latest Best Actor and Actress Awards gala. Bai Ningbing had secured first place by an incomparable, landslide margin, her radiance at that moment unmatched. The scene, so familiar, evoked a deep sigh of reminiscence. After a string of polite thank yous, Bai Ningbing unexpectedly dropped a bombshell. Here, before you all, please allow me to propose to my boss, Wang Lin. Give me a chance to take care of you, to heal your scars. Before I could even process it, the cameras had already panned to me. You gotta be kidding. There was no way I'd fall into the same trap twice. I raised my hand, ready to refuse, but Bai Ningbing, gathering her long skirt, walked over to my side. Shall we delve into Balenciaga tonight? What else could I say? I could only nod in agreement.